Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Pretty Awkward Entrepreneur, our heart to heart episode. I love these. I just love these. These are so fun for me. And it just feels like I get to have a little diary with you. And I just love it. Selfishly, it's just so fulfilling for me. So today I have kind of like a random thing. Well, a few random things, of course, as always, that I want to talk about. But one of the biggest things I want to reiterate, and I've had an episode on this before, but it's been happening the last few weeks for me, that I want to reiterate to you is that money comes to you in expected and unexpected ways. And what happens when you start showing up with such intention and such clarity and such focus? Like, you know what your content's purpose is for, you know who you're talking to, you know what direction you're going in. When you have that down, it's pretty crazy how much your audience responds to that. And you might start getting inquiries for other things. So I'm going to talk about that, but I just want to give you a quick life update. As I'm filming this, I leave for Sedona the next day. I am so excited. I cannot wait. I go to Sedona for a mastermind retreat, and I've never been to Sedona. And from what I've heard, everyone I've talked to, including my dad, who I was with this weekend, I'll tell you about that. He used to live in Arizona. He lived in Chandler, Arizona. And he's like, you are going to love Sedona. You're not going to want to leave. It's just so beautiful. My aunt said the same. All of my friends who've been there are like, it's just the best. So I'm really excited. I'm going to take tons and tons of pictures. So if you were listening to this when this comes out, make sure you follow my story, because I'm sure on Instagram I will share lots of my story for you to see all the beautiful views. But I'm really excited about this trip. It's coming at the most perfect time. It literally couldn't be a better time. And I'll explain why in a sec, but I'm really just excited to be with other entrepreneurs. I'm excited to relax a little bit. But also we're going to be doing a lot of work, but it's like that kind of work that really expands your mind and really makes your vision even more clear. And I cannot wait. And I can't wait to hug my mentor, someone I've been friends with for so long and just have never met in person. So that's going to be really fun. And I'm just really excited to have this spacious time, very needed, a little off the grid. I've got my posts ready to go. I've got my content ready to go. I'm just kind of like tying up loose ends. Part of that was I wanted to get this podcast recorded for you, obviously. But other than that, it's Valentine's Day as I'm filming this. So recording this, I should say. And Mike and I are actually having a very low-key Valentine's Day. We originally were going to go to a speakeasy, and one of our favorite speakeasies in Vegas. It's so fun. And then get pizza after at this pizza place we really love downtown Vegas. But I went out with his brother and his friend who were visiting from New York. They were visiting for 4 days. And most of it was just boy time, but I crashed the party on Friday. We went to a speakeasy. And it was so cool. If you're ever in Vegas, it's called The Lock in Bally's. It was really, really cool. Although I don't know if Bally's is Bally's anymore. I think it's technically called something else. But if you just look up The Lock Bally's, you'll find it. And you have to make reservations and all that. And it was so cool. You had to like climb through this little hole. You could walk through it. I climbed through because come on, the experience, right? And it was so awesome. And I had an old fashioned because that's my favorite cocktail. And it was absolutely delicious. It was so perfect. Like speakeasies and cocktail bars in Vegas just make them so perfect. And it was delicious. And that was it. I just had one. And then a couple hours later, I left and I went home, and the boys stayed out because I'm old and go to sleep early and cannot hang too late. And the next day I woke up and I was a little tired, like not exhausted by any means, but I was like, I'm feeling tired. I had one cocktail, one. What the hell? I just realized I've come to the conclusion my body is so not used to it anymore that even having one, which pretty much is what I have when I do have a drink now and then, I usually have one, max two. I just don't feel my 100% self, even from one. It's wild how much that affects me. And so I was like, honey, I don't want to go to a speakeasy the night before I have to drive to Sedona, and I need to feel good the next day. I don't want to be even a little bit tired on a 4-hour drive. So we canceled that. And what we're doing is getting sushi takeout, just going to have some quality connection time at home, watch some of our favorite shows, have time, of course, without TV, just for us. And I want to get Cold Stone because Cold Stone Creamery is my favorite. Fun fact, I worked at Cold Stone when I was in high school, and I used to sing for my tips. And I actually worked with a bunch of theater friends. They got me the job, and we would put on like productions. We would full out sing. It was pretty impressive. And we would get really good tips because we were really good. We like literally put on a show for people. It was awesome. They were very surprised. They were like, whoa, what's happening? I didn't expect an actual performance from professional singers. What is this? It was really fun. So anyway, that's a tangent, but it was a good time. And I just love Cold Stone ice cream. It's my favorite. Mike loves it too. So that's our night. And I'm so excited about it. Like I cannot wait. It's going to be really fun. We're going to start kind of early, probably around 3. So I'll end work a little early and get packed up and all of that. But I'm so pumped for Sedona, obviously for all those reasons, the views, the people, the expansive conversations that we're going to have, the really like refilling my cup. That's really what I need. And, that brings me to this past weekend. My dad was admitted to the hospital on Friday, and it wasn't like, and I tried to make this clear on my story when I shared it. It wasn't like he was rushed to the hospital or anything like that. He has been having a really bad shortness of breath. And I'm just like, so glad I'm here. And I know that God put me here for a reason right now, because he was having such bad shortness of breath, like walking from his garage to my car, probably 20 feet, was huffing and puffing. And I'm like, okay, I know like you have to take breaks when we're like in the casinos walking around, like we go to the movie at a casino and he always has to take a break because it's a pretty far walk. That's fine. But huffing and puffing 20 feet, like that's not normal. This isn't good. Like we need to get this checked out. And he couldn't catch his breath. And it was like really scary for him. And so he went to the doctor referred him to a cardiologist, finally got in to see the cardiologist. And the next day had blood work. And basically the doctor was like, you need to go to the hospital. Like go tomorrow morning. So it wasn't like, go right this second. He was like, go tomorrow morning. They're probably going to keep you over the weekend. They need to do a bunch of tests, but you have, your kidneys aren't looking good. So there was some kidney stuff. And then when he got to the hospital, I met him there a few hours later. He had fluid in his lungs after they did some x-rays. So he had fluid in his lungs. He was severely bloated. His foot was like, oh my gosh, one of his feet, which he's had a lot of issues with, was so much bigger than the other. So basically they had to like, drain fluid. They did it with a diuretic. So they drained a lot of fluid. He drained a lot of fluid. He got a lot of tests done. And he left yesterday, which was Monday. And I went and I was there the whole weekend. I was like doing a little bit of work at home, watching Luna, because Mike's brother and friend were in. So like they had all these plans already. I was like, no, go do your thing. Have fun. It's okay. Like we're good. And so if I wasn't with Luna at home doing some work, I was at the hospital with him most of the weekend. Watched the Super Bowl there, which was such a good game. And I'm not like, I'm a Giants fan, a New York Giants fan. And like have been for quite a long time. And I used to be so into football and like the actual game. But for some reason I've like, I don't know. I just kind of fell out of love with it, I guess. And so I'm not like, I like watching, but I'm not like, ooh, the game. I'm so excited about it really. But this was a good game. I was actually really impressed. And Rihanna, oh my gosh, her pregnancy announcement, she's a queen. She's just the baddest. I love her so much. I was so excited because like, that was my, like, I grew up with Rihanna, that's the music I grew up with. So it was really, really exciting. My friends and I were all texting and so happy. It was just so badass. We were saying how we would have like literally just lied on the floor though, of the what's it called? The lifts that she was on. I was like, how is she doing that pregnant? Like I couldn't do that. Not pregnant. I can't imagine. I'd be terrified. I'm not like scared of heights, but I would have been terrified. So anyway, so I spent most of the weekend there. And, just talking to him, and he seems to be pretty motivated to eat healthier. He needs to have a heart healthy diet. Like it's very dangerous for him not to right now. He's got a really limited salt intake and all this stuff. It's a big lifestyle change for him. It's a lifestyle change he's been needing to make for a long, long time. And I think this kind of like scared him into it, which I don't love, but you know what? If it's going to work, it's going to work. I want him here. I want him here to see my grandkids or my grandkids, his grandkids. I want him here for so much more. And it's the thing that sucks about having older parents. Like it's the one thing I'm a little bit like, having kids later in life. I'm 35 and, that's our big goal this year. And my parents had me when they were 38 and 39. So they were older and it's like, I'm so close to them and I'm so grateful for my relationship. It also sucks because they're older. So I get less time with them and they're starting to have things happen because they're 73 and 74. Like it's just how it is. And so it's a little frustrating in that sense. And it makes me think of like when I have kids, and so honestly, it motivates me to be my healthiest self. Like I'm the healthiest I've ever been in my life, honestly, but like both in my body and what I'm eating and my movement, but also in my mental health, like in my relationship with food. I've shared that before. Like I have this like incredible relationship with it and with balance and moderation and enjoying myself, but really prioritizing health and all that. And it's something I've worked really hard for many years. So it feels really amazing to be here. And he's a huge reason, like seeing how much his daily life is affected because of his health is like, oh my gosh, like I'm so motivated to not have that happen and to help him out of it, and it's just like with parents, it's so hard. I think it's hard with obviously any family members, but it's like, they know what to do. I've told them what to do. I've been there. I've helped him and he's got to do it. And it's so frustrating when you're like, I just do it, please, but they've got to be the ones to make the changes. And I've kind of really embraced that and let that go because me nagging him wasn't working. And so I really have let that go over the last few years. And now yesterday, after we got back from the hospital, I ran to the grocery store. We made a big list. I got him all the stuff he needed for pretty simple meals while I'm gone, like really simple. He can cook them, but heart healthy, but still some yummy stuff. And I think he's really motivated and it seems like that. And I'm hoping and I'm praying and, we've heard these words before and then he doesn't keep it up, but he's never had anything like this happen. Like he's starting to literally see the effects of his choices and his health, his habits the last few years, not the last few, my whole life, basically for almost 35 years, but pretty much 30 years. He's been incredibly unhealthy in what he eats and his sedentary lifestyle. He doesn't move. He barely moves. So it's really starting to hit him. And I'm hoping that this sparked some kind of change. It seems like it does. So send your prayers, send your love. But, I was so go this weekend between working and being with Luna and being with the boys and then being with my dad. I literally didn't stop. So yesterday when I like had a second, when I was like in the car driving to the grocery store, it kind of all just hit me. And I was like, oh, I'm exhausted and emotionally drained. Like, I know he's fine and he's okay and he's going to be okay. But it was just like, your parents in the hospital, that doesn't feel good. And so I just kind of like broke down for a sec. I was like, oof, I'm tired and this is hitting me. And I didn't expect this to come up. And I just realized, wow, Sedona is coming at the perfect time because I just need a little break. I've been working a lot behind the scenes, like on things that we have coming up, on a big launch that we're having, on content, on systems and all these things, especially with my OBM. She's been amazing. Like we've been really tag teaming, doing so many projects and it's been amazing. Like I've shared this. I shared this the last few weeks. Like I've been so excited. I've been waking up, like wanting to work right away. Like it's not I got to do this. I got to do this. I'm going to burn myself out. It's been I'm so freaking pumped and excited that I want to work. Right. So it's been from such an exciting place, but it's still been a little bit more than I normally do. And so I think that combined with just being at the hospital all weekend, I was like, wow, okay, I need this little trip. I need this unplugged trip. So I'm really, really excited. It's going to be so incredible. I will, of course, recap it probably the next heart to heart. I'll tell you all the big breakthroughs that we have, but that's a little update on life and on my Valentine's Day. So couple things that I want to share with you is the whole money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways. A client case study that I am sharing in my Meg's Monday mashup email. If you're not on my email list, make sure that you get on there because I'm sending out an email every Monday now called Meg's Monday mashup. And basically I'm giving you a quick business tip, like very applicable, something that's really going to move the needle forward for you. A really beautiful quote, inspiring quote, and then a case study of a client, but breaking it down a little bit so you can actually get inspiration from it instead of being like, look, my client had an amazing week. There you go. She made all this money. Bye. It's not going to be that. It's going to be like, here's what she thought through. Here's what she did. Like it's going to be something for you to take away. So if you are not on the list for that, if you're not receiving my emails, if you go to the link in the show notes, I'll put the Meg's Monday mashup opt-in. You can just opt in for that. But if you just got my high ticket client guide, I know a lot of you have gotten it. Oh my gosh, it's been so amazing to see everyone opting in and going through the guide. If you got the guide, you should be receiving the email. So you should be good with that. So yeah, you should be getting that. Speaking of, my high ticket client guide, 5 strategies you need in place to sign your next high ticket client, is available. It's free. It's so freaking good. I walk you through so many exercises to get super clear on who you're speaking to, what your offer should be, the process you take people through to see a transformation, your content plan, and your mindset. It's like a chock full. My OBM was like, I cannot believe this is free. This is really freaking good. I'm like, I know. There's even like a content planning for a whole week with examples and things like that. So go to the link in the show notes, but it's simply meganyelaney.com/high-ticket-client. Okay, shameless plugs are over. So I'm going to talk about that. And then also TikTok. I want to share like something that I've noticed with that. So something that's happened in the last few weeks, which happens pretty much every time I start to ramp up for a launch. Some people call it a ramp up. Some people call it a warm up. So, some people, actually, those are really the only 2 words I've ever used. I usually say ramp up or warm up, where you're warming your audience up before you open cart for something. And I started that like 2 weeks ago. And this is something I've been doing this style for many, many years. And every single time I do this, no matter what program I'm going to be launching at the end of all of this, I get client increase every single time for other things. And in the last week, I've had 2 client increase come through for private coaching. One is considering my mastermind one-on-one or VIP day. She's deciding between those 3, and another is considering an intensive or a VIP day kind of situation, more virtual. And they both came through in the last week. And I've been really intentional with my content. I've been really intentional with everything I've been doing, and I'm giving so much value to my audience. And I know that's why. So this is just another reminder to you: when you are posting with intention, you're posting for someone specific, you're speaking really clearly, you're making sure all your content is valuable and it's not just thrown up to be like, I need a post, let's post something. Like, you're really intentional with it, and there's a direction and a purpose. Like, my purpose is to help my audience have these mini transformations so that by the time I open cart, it's a no-brainer for them to join my program, if they're right for it, obviously. And that's the process. And so I've begun that process. Now, these 2 people who inquired are not right for that program. They are further along in their journey of entrepreneurship, right? But yet they still reached out, even though I'm talking about like going full-time in your business, signing your next client, creating a client attraction system that really helps you sign clients consistently. Like, that's who I'm speaking to, someone in their first few years. These people are not in their first few years. They're more seasoned, but yet they still reached out. So this is just like my call to you, because I see this happen so much. Do not get so in your head about niching down, about getting really specific. I talk about this in my high ticket client guide, the freebie that I just released. I talk about how when you have more specificity in the beginning of your business, especially in the beginning of your business, I'm not in the beginning of my business, and it still helps me, by the way, but especially in the beginning, you will grow faster 99% of the time. And I see this, we've coached so many people, and we see, especially if they're coaching with a method that they're like, this can help so many people, though I don't want to niche down to just one. And I get it, but it's going to help you be so much more intentional and clear with your content. And when you work more clear and it's really specific, your expertise, your perceived expertise level is raised. People start looking at you as that expert, and they're like, oh, wow, this person knows what they're talking about. This isn't necessarily for me, but like, obviously they're really skilled. Obviously they know what they're doing. I wonder if they can help me with that method with this other thing, or I wonder if they help people at a further stage in their journey, right? They will reach out. Literally had 2 people in the last week inquire about one-on-one. I haven't talked about one-on-one. I haven't talked to this higher level client, someone who's further along in their journey, right? And they still reached out. And so remember that when you get really specific and really confident in your content, people are going to reach out for other things. They're going to be like, hey, I love how you're showing up. You are showing up with such intention. You're showing up so powerfully. There's something about your energy. Like, I want to work with you. Do you have anything I could do? This happens every single time that I am very intentional and leading up to something, every single time. So I just encourage you to not worry about getting specific and niching down. You're not going to be pigeonholed into this forever, but you are going to grow faster, especially in the beginning stages. I see it time and time again. And I talk about this in my free guide. I go into it in more depth. I think it's in step 2, which is talking about your ideal client. I say in year 1 of my current business, I only helped health and fitness coaches. That's who I was helping build their business, because that was my background. So I said, this is who this is for. And then I started to branch out into more life and mindset and health coaches. And then by the end of year 2, I was helping every kind of coach and service providers, copywriters, web designers, accountants, things like that, bookkeepers. Like I've helped so many different types of people now, VAs. And sure, my expertise and the majority of people I still help are coaches in general, but I expanded from there. And I was able to so much more easily because I got really specific. I honed in on my skills and I realized these skills are very transferable to other industries. I know I can help them, but now I have the proof. Now I have all these client testimonials. Now I have all these results. Now I have all this experience. Now I have all these methods I've developed, right? These processes, this framework. So I really just urge you, I talk about this a lot in the freebie, the power of one ideal client, one offer, one marketing strategy in the first few years until you were bringing in consistent income. And that could, for you, a big number people throw out is 5K months, right? Once you're hitting consistent 5K to 10K months, that's a really big range. It's so funny. Everyone's like 5 to 10K. That's a huge range. That's double 5, right? But for sake of ease, like let's say 5 to 8, right? Until you're hitting that, I really encourage you to get really specific. It's going to help. Okay. Off my soapbox, but I wanted to share that because I love that. I love that these inquiries came in and it's just proof that this happens every single time. Every single time I'm like, without fail, it's going to happen. So also this is a good clue in if you are warming up your audience to open cart for something, whether it's publicly a public launch or you're doing behind the scenes through only email, whatever it is, whatever your method is, don't worry too much about like, oh, I'm not selling for a few months. How am I going to make money? I literally just had 2 high ticket client inquiries come through, right? And I'm not technically selling. So I wouldn't worry too much when you are really consistent. And again, so intentional, people will start to reach out about those things naturally. So, and you can do behind the scenes things and like backdoor selling. So don't worry too much about that. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about was this client who had a 42K pre-launch, basically. She's in launch, but like very little, very, very little promotion. She was really just promoting to the challenge that she ran, the people who did the challenge, and had such a slam dunk launch. She was like, oh my gosh, like I still have a good chunk of time to promote and we're already at 42K. This is incredible. And I said to her, I was like, you've paid your dues. That's why this girl has been so freaking consistent with her business, with her content, with showing up for her clients. Her client experience is top notch. Her clients get incredible results. She's such high referral rates, such high continuation rates. She has just really gotten really great at what she does. Her skill set, she's honed her skill set. She's really number one about her clients. They are first and foremost. And she's been really consistent with her content. And she's got kids. So this isn't someone who's got like all the time in the world. She's been really smart with her time. And she's been doing this for 3 years, actually over 3 years. And so I was like, yeah, it is flowy and easy now because you paid your dues. And when I see that phrase in the theater world, we say this, like, you got to pay your dues. And basically it's like, you got to be in the chorus before you're going to get a main part. Before you're going to get a starring role, you've got to do some chorus gigs, right? And are there exceptions? Are there those people in the theater world who never have a part in the chorus and skip right to a lead? Yeah, there totally are those exceptions. But the majority, no. The majority aren't going to have that situation. And I think we are so easy, or so I should say, I think we're so quick to look at those exceptions and think, oh, but they didn't have to post for years and build this trust and build this credibility. They just like took off overnight. That's going to happen occasionally, but it's so few and far between that if you just are building your business, if everything you're doing is to have that quick cash, that quick virality, that quick fix, it's one, it's going to take long because it's not going to happen quickly because most people don't. And two, if it does happen to you, there's so much foundation building that you need to have in place for sustainable growth that it might, I don't want to say it'll crash and burn after, but it could. I've seen it happen. So instead of going, how can I just go viral? How can I just get clients quick? How can I just get quick cash? How can I build a really solid foundation so that in a few months, a few years, I'm having these really flowy launches. I'm having these really easy months. Things are just flowing. People are inquiring and I don't even really need to do much because I built that groundwork. I built that trust. That's the mindset I really want you to go into it with. And that's what happened with her. That's exactly what happened. I'm like, yeah, you've kind of earned the right for it to be easy now. You've really stayed patient and you haven't wavered. Like she hasn't tried to be like, she hasn't complained. That's one thing I will say. She hasn't complained about it's not happening quick enough. I just needed to be here. I just need to be here. She's like accepted that it will take time and has leaned into that and put her freaking blinders on. And this is my friend. I'll kind of end with this topic. And I want to share a little bit about my TikTok journey so far. She's so grateful for where she's at, and she's not looking outside of herself for the answer. And now I've worked with her for years. We've actually worked one-on-one together, and then we took a little break and then we worked on one-on-one again together. And now she's in my mastermind. I've now probably almost 2 full years of working with her. And every single time I'm so incredibly amazed by her, because even though she's got a coach, me, she trusts herself. Like she will follow a strategy. She's like such a implementer. If I give her a plan, she'll do the plan. But even with that, she won't follow it if it doesn't feel right for her. And she'll tweak it to make it her own every single time. She's a boss. She makes her own decisions. So she doesn't rely on me. Like if I couldn't answer like within 24 hours, right? If it was a weekend or something like that, she'll make the decision and go forth. She is a boss. And I think that's what's been so huge is she doesn't rely on me to tell her what she needs to do and make her results happen. And even if you're in the beginning stages, because when you're in the beginning stages of business, I totally get it. You're like, I need the framework. I need the structure, right? Like my beginning business program, SOSA 2.0 that we're relaunching in a few months, like it is step by step. We do tell you what to do. We give you the blueprint, of course, like that's what happens when you're in the beginning. But even then, there are some things you have to make your own decisions on, even in the beginning. You need to be the one to decide. Otherwise, it's kind of that phrase you can, you guys know me and my phrases, I butcher them. You can lead a fish to water. Is it fish? No, horse. Oh my God. Fishes are in water. What? They're already in there. Megan, what are you saying? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't teach him how to drink. I think that's the phrase. I don't think I butchered it. That's that whole thing, right? And I don't want to lead you to water and just be like, all right, here it is. I want to teach you how to figure that out so that you're not reliant, you're not codependent. And that's something that she's done so beautifully. And so I've really encouraged you, whether you're just starting your business and listening to this, or whether you're a few years in and you find yourself always looking outside of yourself, always looking to the experts for the answers. Yes, experts are great. Yeah. I mean, literally my whole job, my whole career, my whole income is on that. So please keep hiring experts, please. But don't just rely on them. Don't just rely on me. Don't just rely on your mentors. Like you have it in you to make these decisions, right? I know you'd want that for your clients. So that's just something I wanted to leave you with. And then last thing I want to talk about is our TikTok journey. I have been having so much fun with TikTok. It's been really fun. And we've seen a little bit of growth. And some things do really well. And of course, some things tank and we're like, wow, that got no views. And then this other thing got 1,000 views. Very interesting. And we're analyzing everything. I'm really having fun with it and making it such an experiment and going what's landing, what's not, different styles of videos. But what I've noticed, and my friend is helping me with it, like helping me with the marketing plan. And she noticed this too. She's like, you're so used to creating content for Instagram style or email that it flows out of you, right? Or podcast. It's another great example. I'm sure we should use a lot of this actually for TikTok. Now that I'm saying that, adding that to the list. But I'm so used to creating really good carousel posts, creating really great reels, creating really great emails, right? And it just flows out of me. It's so natural. And I was trying this, these other strategies and these other ways of doing videos, like certain frameworks and following certain, do this hook here and then say, follow for more, and then say your credentials here. And I'm up to trying anything. So I'm a good student. I'm like, I will try anything. I'm not tied to it. I won't blame the system if it doesn't work. I'm not like, oh, it doesn't work for me. It's like, no, it doesn't necessarily work. Maybe I didn't do it right. Maybe I need to try it again. Maybe it was the topic, right? There's so many things that could change that. But what I noticed is I'm so quick and easy to create emails and podcasts and Instagram. It flows out of me that we were kind of starting from scratch with all this. And so now what we notice is when I start with the post, the Instagram post or the email, and then I make that into a video, it does so much better. So this is my call to you. If you're starting on another platform that does require you to change, right? You can't, Facebook groups are a great example. You can't take what you post on Instagram, copy, paste it in a Facebook group and expect it to perform. Facebook groups are all about community and starting conversation. It's a completely different beast, but you can take a conversation you're having in your post and create a really powerful question for your Facebook group with the same topic. So you're not completely starting from scratch, and you can use that content as inspiration, right? To make it way easier. So I really encourage you to try this. I'm trying it right now. Is like whatever medium you're most natural at, it flows for you. Take what you're doing there and go, okay, great. I'm going to start with this. This is a great base. How do I take this and tweak it for this other platform? Because I know that it works a little bit differently. And to do well in here, I have to tweak some things, right? So for TikTok, for example, TikTok is such a like fast moving platform that if you don't capture someone's attention right away, they're gone. So if you start it with, hi, my name is Meg. I'm so excited to talk to you today about, they're gone. They were gone after I said, ha, they were gone. They were like so gone. So just remember that. And it sucks because I see so many people on this app that I know personally, and I'm like, oh my God, they have such great content, but people aren't going to be watching it because of like that first 5 seconds that they're like, I'm so excited, unless they're already loyal fans, right? Remember, if you're trying to find new people on TikTok, which most of the people who are seeing your stuff are going to be people who don't know you, you got to capture their attention. So if you have a post that is for your warm community, let's say on Instagram, and it's nurturing your current people, how can you change that first line, that hook, and say something really specific that speaks to the post, but also your ideal client, right? Like, let's say you're a sex coach and your post is about, actually, I have a client in my program. I'm going to use it as an example. I hope she's listening to this. Let's say your big pillar is on sexual confidence and helping people find this incredible sexual confidence. And that's going to help them. And that's going to be the method that gets them to having all the results they want, a better sex life, more sex drive, all these other things, right? But people aren't super familiar with the term sexual confidence. So instead of starting like, hey, today I'm going to talk to you about sexual confidence, I don't know why I'm sounding like this, like very slow. Like, hi, not that anyone like does that, but let's say that that's how they started it, right? Versus, are you really lacking, or no, not even, I'm doing this on the spot, by the way, I didn't write this down. Do you really want to have more sex? Do you want to increase your sex drive? Do you feel like you never want to have sex anymore? And it's really affecting your relationship, right? If you started like that, and again, maybe I don't have it in front of me, but maybe the desire that this client has or the problem they're telling her that they have is something different. But let's say that from her research, her ideal client is saying, I have no sex drive anymore and it's affecting my marriage, right? Let's just say that's what it is. If you speak to that first in the hook, if you're like, is your sex drive 0 and it's really affecting your marriage? Or is your sex drive plummeted and it's really affecting your marriage? Watch this video, right? They're going to stay if they're your ideal client. Now, again, you might be talking about sexual confidence as the method to help them get there. But if you started with that, something that they're not as familiar and it's not as like speaking directly to that pain or directly to that desire, right? They're going to scroll past, and it sucks because there's so much great content that people are putting out there, but they're just not capturing that attention. And I, speaking to myself, I have to get better at this too, right? Sometimes when you've been doing something for so long, you get a little lazy with it. I've definitely been guilty of that. And I'm like, okay, we need to like go back to the basics. A good hook is never going to go away. A few things that will never go away no matter what happens in social media. A good hook, right? Old school email subject lines have taught us, if they've taught us anything, it's you need a good hook to get people to even open the email. It's the same thing to get people to read the caption, to get people to watch the video. A good hook is a good hook, right? So that's number 1. And number 2 is stories. Storytelling will literally never go out of style. Every reel I've had go viral, every TikTok I've had go viral is a story, pretty much is a story. Very few exceptions. And even the ones that aren't technically stories, they had a real good hook and they ended up being a story. So I'm going to be doing a really fun storytelling series for you in the coming months. So hold tight for that. It's going to be so good. And just basically how you can craft your story in a way that actually sells your offer, and how many different ways you can use your story, but that will never die and hooks will never die. Get good at telling your story, get good at having all these different hooks and subject lines. And a little hack that I've been doing for many, many years, like literally 5, 6, 7 years, like pretty much almost my whole business career, is this email subject lines that I actually open, or I'm like, ooh, that caught my eye, I want to open that. I copy it and I put it in a doc. I don't use it verbatim unless it's like, are you interested? Or did you know? Or something really general. Obviously, if it's very unique to that person, I will change it, make it my own, of course. But I use that as inspo. I'm like, that got my attention. Why? Even if I'm not the ideal client, it got my attention. Why? So do that. When stuff starts to stop your own scroll, instead of just, you're a business owner. So if you want to use social media more intentionally, instead of just scrolling and watching and being like, that was really good content, go, why did I stop and actually watch that? Why did I read this post? Why did I watch this live? Why did I open this email? Why did I listen to that podcast episode, right? Why did I click on that episode because of the title? And something that could start to help you. And now I'm no expert. I'm just getting into it. I'm just exploring it. And I heard it from Rick Mulready's podcast. You know what? I'll link his episode in the show notes that I listened to about AI. It was really, really good. Is Chat GPT. And my husband's going to cringe because he's like, I told you about this a month ago. He did. I have to credit him. He told me about it and I was like, yeah, that sounds good. But like, I want to write my own stuff. I'm not going to like cheat and have this other thing write for me. And he's like, no, that's not the point. It's like, it can give you really good ideas. It can give you really good subject lines. And honey, you were right. You're editing this podcast. I don't know if you'll hear this part, but you were right. Thank you. Sometimes you got to listen to your partner when they tell you something, but sometimes it's kind of like when my mom tried to teach me piano. She's a professional piano player, and I really regret not letting her teach me piano. And she tried, and I wouldn't listen to her. And now I'm like, man, I wasted a professional piano player. I really regret that. You know, sometimes when you're so close to someone, you just can't listen to them. And that's like with your partner, so much so. So he's probably like, I told you about that. But Chat GPT is a great place to get some good subject lines, good hooks, all of that. Definitely listen to Rick's episode about that because he dives into like how to actually use it, because there's a way to use it to get good information and way to not use it. So I am going to be rabbit hole diving into that very soon. I think there's so many ways that you can use it. And I want to use it effectively, but obviously it's not going to like replace your voice. And that's something he makes a really big point of saying is like, if this isn't going to replace a human and adding your personality and your flair, like it never will, right? You've got to add yourself. So never like use it, copy paste, always make it your own. Otherwise it's going to be pretty obvious that you're doing that. And that's not going to sell. That's just not going to land. You're gonna be like, damn it, ChatGPT failed me. Right. Okay, this has been all over the place, but I really hope this helped you. I was excited to talk to you about the money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways. You got to pay your dues, my friend. Enjoy the journey. Really, really embody what my client did about being a boss, making her own decisions, having support, having guidance, having mentorship, but having that long-term mindset and not trying to rush everything to happen right away. Now she's having easy 42K plus launches, right? In the first pre-sale of her program, because she's been doing it for years. This didn't happen overnight. So you've got to pay those dues. And if you are taking content from one platform to another, or I should say, if you are wanting to branch out into another platform, take the content you're really comfortable creating on another and say, okay, let me start with this as a base. How can I tweak it for this other app versus trying to start from scratch? I hope this helped. As always, I love these episodes. I love sharing with you what I'm learning behind the scenes, what's going on. I will share my takeaways from Sedona. I cannot wait for that episode because that's going to be really just therapeutic for me, I'm sure. And all the things. And maybe I'll come back a new person. Who knows? I mean, I love who I am. So I don't think so, but more evolved, I'm sure. And I think more refreshed. I definitely need it. So thank you for sending all the love about my dad. I got some really beautiful messages. I appreciate you. Make sure you download the freebie. Do not forget to download the high ticket client guide, 5 strategies to sign your next high ticket client on social media. It is in the show notes for you. It's also just meganyelaney.com/high-ticket-client. So high ticket client with dashes in between all the words. Super simple for you to remember. And if you take a screenshot of yourself doing the work, whether it's like, hey, I got the guide, or going through it, actually doing it, and tag me on social media, you will get entered in to win a free 30-minute call with me. So make sure you do that. And I will see you on the next episode, my friend. Thank you for being the best.